What's up guys, and welcome to my relatively new video format where it's kind of like a team versus thing where I pit usually two characters against another two characters. In today's video, you guys are probably just imagining a whirlwind of lightsabers in this battle, and you're not wrong, because today I'm doing Pong Krell and General Grievous versus Darth Maul and Savage Oppress. So although you may be imagining, all the whirling lightsabers, I'm going to try and make it a little bit more sophisticated than that. And for this battle, I want you guys to imagine a large intergalactic arena where participants are forced to fight to the death. And in this case, it's General Grievous and Pong Krell versus Darth Maul and Savage Oppress, who have somehow been captured by these intergalactic smugglers for entertainment. Let's just say for maybe the Geonosians or something like that. But the point is, they're in an arena and there's not really anything to obstruct them in this fight. So now that this kind of base is set, I don't think we should delay this any further, and I reckon we should just jump straight into the video. Remember, this is my opinion and your opinion may differ. Now, unlike the other two previous videos I've done, I've just kind of, rambled off my points. But for this one, I'm going to try and make things a little bit more structured, and I'm going to do the advantages and disadvantages of all four lightsaber wielders in this video. So just tell me what you guys think of this new format within a format, and be sure to leave me suggestions in the comments below, because they really help with future video planning and with ideas and everything like that, because some of you guys come up with great ideas. So I don't want to miss out on any of those golden opportunities. Anyways, without further delay, let's get into this video. So the first combatant we're going to analyze is General Grievous. So first of all, let's take a look at his advantages. Well, we know that he's a cyborg, so that means he's not going to fatigue. And that also leads me into another advantage, which is that he's extremely agile and can usually escape unfavorable situations if he deems them so, like we see in the Clone Wars many times with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even clones. So yeah, General Grievous wasn't portrayed in the most intimidating way in canon, but that's a discussion for another video. He also effectively wields 4 lightsabers, and he mixes a lot of combat forms up, which it can be very confusing to a lot of opponents. So he mixes up Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, pretty much all of them except for, I'd say, Form 7. So that's pretty much it for his advantages, so let's head on to his disadvantages. And in my opinion, Grievous is susceptible to defensive fighting forms, because, we see in the Clone Wars he constantly gets shown up by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and also in the movies. But to be honest, in this matchup, it's not really going to matter because neither Darth Maul or Savage Oppress have defensive fighting forms. It's just a point I just wanted to mix in there. He's also not a force wielder, so this means he's not going to be using any powerful, push moves to disengage the enemy. And the last point is that he was literally defeated by Gungans in the Clone Wars, but, I just added that as kind of a meme. It's kind of a canon Grievous meme. But yeah, Grievous does have a couple of disadvantages that would be detrimental in a fight. So, but that's pretty much it for Grievous. Anyways, let's move on to his combat partner, and that is of course the big Pong Krell. Now this 4-armed giant frog was, in my opinion, very intelligent, as he was one of the only Jedi to predict the downfall of the Republic. And this also correlates with his extremely strong affinity with the Force. If he was able to predict something as big as that, I mean, he utilized the information in the wrong way, but hey, he predicted something as massive as the downfall of the Jedi, so, I mean, you gotta give him props for that. In addition to his extremely powerful Force abilities, Pong Krell was extremely efficient with the unique fighting form of Jar Kai, which Jedi such as Ahsoka Tano used, and it was essentially being able to dual wield lightsabers, which Pong Krell did, but except with double-sided lightsabers, which made him look extremely intimidating whilst in battle. I mean, not to mention his huge size, and his huge frog-like features, which just accentuated everything. So Pong Krell, very intimidating person to fight against, so yeah, props to the 212th and 501st for, doing something about that. And that kind of leads me on to the disadvantages, because in my opinion, Pong Krell had some pretty huge cons, and yeah, one of the biggest was his arrogance. Now this of course led to his downfall at the Battle of Umbara, when I think it was Top, could have been Kix, tricked him into, I think it was, I forget the name of the plant, just being captured by this native Umbaran plant. And this eventually led him to be stunned and captured by the clones, and eventually executed by Dogma. So yeah, his arrogance was his downfall, and without this arrogance, he would have been extremely, extremely powerful. I can't emphasize that enough. And pretty much the only other disadvantage lies in his agility. He wasn't very fast, rather he was just slow and powerful. This isn't really a big disadvantage, but it's something I just thought I'd add in there. So now that we've finished analyzing the team that has a combined total of 8 lightsaber blades in their arsenal, it's time to move on to Darth Maul and Savage Oppress, the two also extremely powerful brothers. Now, the first brother we're going to take a look at is Darth Maul, and he comes with an array of advantages that would be beneficial in a fight against Pong Krell and General Grievous. Now, the first edge he has is how in tune he is with the dark side of the Force, and this of course correlates with his extremely powerful manipulation of the Force, outmatching that of Pong Krell's, I'd say 2 to 1 even. Darth Maul was also extremely cool, calm and collected in the face of adversity, and was extremely resilient. I just cannot emphasize that enough. I mean, even if he was missing all of his limbs, he'd find some way to try and fight back. I mean that's just how deeply embedded the dark side was inside of Darth Maul. He let his hate fester, he let his anger fester, and yeah, as we see in the Clone Wars, his hate for Obi-Wan is just unparalleled to anything we see. He's also pretty much unfazed by anything because he's just experienced it all. And, he's got nothing really to worry about other than killing Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now to stick on this general thread of Obi-Wan Kenobi, because of his humiliating and painful defeat at the hands of young Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul didn't have the tendency to underestimate anybody, unlike Pong Krell. And for all the ensuing fights he ever had, Darth Maul was known to retain a sense of humility. Now, the last big advantage Darth Maul had was his utilization of one of the most powerful combat forms in the entire universe. That form of course being Form 7, also known as Vapad or Juyo. Darth Maul, being the hate-fested being that he is, made extremely good use of this form because it relied on transferring one's emotions into one's swings, which made Darth Maul's swings extremely powerful and extremely emotion-filled, if you want to put it that way. This would present a challenge to both General Grievous and Pong Krell because they simply didn't have these abilities, as Grievous, of course, didn't utilize Form 7, and same with Pong Krell. He wasn't at that stage yet. Maybe in the future he could have done that and he would have been probably one of the best Sith out, but hey, that never happened and Dogma got his way. Not really, but Dogma killed him. Good on Dogma. Still hate him though. Anyways, enough of me praising Darth Maul, let's take a look at his disadvantages. Although there aren't too many big ones, there are a couple of, little nitpicky ones that I have. And he wasn't particularly fast or powerful in his strikes when he wasn't induced by rage. So, he was just kind of meh. If it didn't come to Obi-Wan. If he wasn't fighting Obi-Wan, he wouldn't fight his best. Now, on this thread of Obi-Wan, Darth Maul wasn't really incentivized to do anything because, he wasn't fueled by his burning rage to avenge his legs or something like that. And I know I've been rambling on about this point, but hey, it's a key part of Darth Maul's life and it has to be covered. I think Darth Maul's got a little bit of a crush there, but hey, that's for a Valentine's Day video. Anyways, that's enough about Darth Maul, so let's head on to his good old brother Savage Oppress. Now, for Savage's advantages, he was extremely powerful in combat, not so much the Force. He was alright in the Force, but in combat, he was powerful as hell. He hated pretty much all living beings except for his fighting buddy Darth Maul, so that's gonna help him in this 2v2. And you know, he had a large build, and I reckon he could have rivaled, you know, Pong Krell in that if it was just the battle of physique. But there aren't too many redeeming factors about Savage Oppress. He's just kind of, you know, the follower of Darth Maul, the little pawn on the side. But you know, he's a good asset, not too shabby. Onto the disadvantages. He was very inexperienced and could be slow and predictable in battle. This is shown against, you know, Obi-Wan, who is of course a very experienced fighter. So yeah, he wasn't, and Palpatine, who eventually killed him. Yep, so pretty inexperienced, slow, predictable. He overestimated his power relative to others. Now he wasn't on the level of Pong Krell when it came to this, but he did have this tendency to view himself as superior to all others, all because he killed a couple of clones and, you know, a Jedi Padawan. I mean, come on, that's not the greatest achievement, but yeah, because of this, he did tend to overestimate his power. So kind of, you know, a little bit of a mirror match there with Pong Krell, except not as skilled. But yeah, though, those are pretty much all of his disadvantages in my opinion. But if I've missed any, you know, be sure to leave them down in the comments below, because I'm sure I have. But yeah, I don't want to rip on Savage too much. And he was quite a powerful thing. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the Judgement. And just to put that disclaimer there again, you guys are probably not going to agree with me. And you guys are probably going to want, you know, a bit of a further analysis. But for the sake of entertainment and for the sake of, you know, having a reasonable video length, I'm not going to take into account every single factor. And I'm just going to create, you know, a fun little scenario, an analysis based on my own thoughts and opinions on things. So if you want to tell me yours in the comments below, please feel free to. I'd be happy to read them and happy to respond. Anyways, let's get on to my judgment of this arena battle in the middle of nowhere, filled with Geonosian. In my scenario, Savage would have taken on Grievous, and Maul would have taken on Pong Krell. And they would have, you know, split up into their little dueling parties, much like we see in some episodes of the Clone Wars. And they're just, you know, doing their separate thing, fighting their separate battle, a fierce battle at that, a very intense battle at that. Later on into the fight, I think the first casualty would have been Savage Oppress. Just basically due to his inexperience and him fighting a cyborg with 4 lightsabers. It's not too easy, despite what you may think after seeing Obi-Wan fight him. This subsequently would have fueled Darth Maul's anger, and unfortunately for Grievous, he'd be the subject of this anger, and Pong Krell wouldn't be able to stop Maul from extracting his revenge on General Grievous, just making, you know, Grievous a distant memory. Now, this leaves us with Pong Krell and Darth Maul. Now, Pong Krell, after witnessing Darth Maul's wrath, would have likely reined in his overconfidence a little bit and wouldn't have been exhibiting the arrogance he would have likely been displaying at the beginning of the fight against Darth Maul. So, this leaves us with a very powerful and surprisingly humble Pong Krell. Now, in my opinion, as I stated before, a humble Pong Krell is a powerful Pong Krell. An extremely powerful Pong Krell, and now fighting knowing that Darth Maul has this extreme power, Pong Krell would have actually fought with a bit of ferocity and a bit of skill. This would have led him, after an intense battle, to best Darth Maul. But knowing Darth Maul's resilience, as Pong Krell is absorbing all the reactions of the crowd and all the applause and rebuilding his fragile ego, Darth Maul would have been able to severely injure Pong Krell, and in my version he would have taken off 2 of his arms, leaving the big frog with only 2 arms on his left side, thus greatly reducing his power and making him useless to this intergalactic arena. So that pretty much sums up my scenario and my version of what would happen if Pong Krell, General Grievous, Darth Maul, and Savage Oppress were put in 2 teams and pit against each other. Now, I know that 60 to 70% of you will probably have completely different versions and completely different scenarios you're building in your head or have built in your head throughout this video. So be sure to leave me them in the comments below, and I definitely will read them, and if they're good enough, you'll probably warrant a response from me as well. Also guys, be sure to leave me suggestions in the comments below and you guys do come up with some golden ideas and I don't want to miss that. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying this format. And as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.